Good morning, students, and welcome to the online teaching session. Students, we have started the chapter number 7, Night Witches, written by Megan Garber. Okay, in this chapter, we have read that the word night witches was World War II German nickname for all female military aviators of 588th Night Bomber Regiment of the Soviet Air Force. In this chapter, we saw about the two night witches. One was Pamyatnik and the second was Nadezhda Popova. Now, we'll see few more night witches. Okay, so I'm again going to read the paragraph 7. After that, we will continue. One of the most famous of the night witches, Nadezhda Popova, a commander of the squad who flew in total 852 of its mission, passed away in 2013. She was 91 years old, and the obituaries that resulted, celebration of a life and a legacy largely unknown to many of us around the world, serve as a reminder of the great things of female flyers accomplished. Things made even more remarkable considering the limited technology that was available to the women. The witches flew only in the dark because of the weight of the bombs they carried and the low altitude at which they flew. They carried no parachutes. They had no radar to navigate their path through the night skies, only maps and compasses. If hit by bullets, their craft could burst into flame like the paper planes they resembled, which was not a small concern. We have read that their plane was basically made of the paper. They had no well-developed technology. Simply they were flying. There was no radar to navigate their path. So they all had a small map and a small compass, and they have to make their path by themselves. They all had to navigate their path by themselves. They used to carry a heavy load of bombs, and then they flew in the night time only. Almost every time Popova once recalled, everybody used to recall Popova. We had to sail through a wall of enemy fire. Okay, now Popova, she was a brave night witch, and everybody remembers him or recalled him in his thoughts. Now children, turn the page, paragraph 9. Their mission were dangerous. Definitely their missions were very dangerous because they had to fly, they had to flown through the skies during the night time without any radar, without any exact path. They were also, as a secondary challenge, unpleasant. Each night, in general, 40 planes, each crewed by 2 women. So every night, at least 40 planes they flew, and in each plane there were 2 women, a pilot and a navigator. One who used to fly the plane and one who detect the path, work as a navigator. Would fly 8 or more missions. So one plane was able to fly at least 8 times, and one plane was flown by 2 women, where one was pilot and another was navigator. Would fly 8 or more missions. Popova herself once flew 18 in a single night. Now this was the challenge, children. Popova herself flew 18 planes in one night only. In a single night. The multiple nightly sorties were necessary because of the modified crop dusters were capable of carrying only 2 bombs at a time. Now children, at the time of fight, they had to flew many more than 8 times, and each time they all were able to carry only 2 bombs, and that's why it is written as Popova herself. She flew 18 times in a one night. Now each time she was carrying 2 bombs with herself. Why the plane was able to carry only 2 bombs? Just because the reason it was made up of the only cardboard and it was used to spray the insecticides and pesticides over the crop fields. That's why it was very lightweighted. It was not able to carry the heavy load, and that's why what these women were doing, these women were flying the plane more than 8 times each night. And Popova was telling us that once she flew more than 18 times in one night. Now see the next. The women's uniforms were hand-me-down from male pilots, and their planes had open cockpits, leaving the women's face to freeze in the chilly night air. Now this was again a big challenge and unpleasant experience for the Popova. What was that? Their uniform was not proper, and even their cockpit was not closed. Their cockpit was open, and that's why when they all were flying, then and if the situation was very cold, very like cold weather, then during that time they all were felt very chill, okay, shivered with the cold, but still they all were flying. Now once again, the crop dusters were capable of carrying only 2 bombs at a time. The women's uniform were hand-me-down from male pilots, and their planes had open cockpit, leaving the women's face to freeze in the chilly night air. When the wind was strong, it would toss the plane. Popova noted, in winter, when you had looked out to see your target better, you got frostbite. Our feet froze in our boots, but we carried on flying. Because of the size and the design of the plane, during the cold night, what they all were feeling? They all had a frostbite. And the meaning of the frostbite is a condition in which person's finger, ears or nose can become swollen and numb because of extreme cold. When there is a swelling in the fingers, in the nose, when the nose become very chill, red cheeks with a cold, then every situation, this type of situation is called as the frostbite. So whenever they flew in the extreme winter, then they feel a chill, extreme chill, and because of that they all had a frostbite. Once after a successful flight, which is to say a flight she survived, Popova counted 42 bullets hole studding her little plane. There were also holes in her map and in her helmet. Katya, my dear, the pilot told her navigator, we will live long. Now see children, once after a successful flight. Now this is the story of Popova now. Okay, now Popova is telling us that once after a successful flight, which is to say a flight she survived. Like after flying, she survived. Now how she survived? Popova counted 42 bullet holes studding her little plane. Once they all were caught in a fight. We have already read that Germans, they were attacking, and these females, they were protecting themselves, and they all were fighting with these German armies. So Popova told us that once she was caught in the German fighters, and then she got 42 bullet fights, 42 bullet guns, bullet holes, and there were hole in the map and in her helmet. Even she was shot into the helmet also. Katya, she was the navigator. The pilot told her navigator, we will live long. So they all were saved after getting 42 bullet guns. Despite all this bravery, however, female fighter pilots initially struggled to earn the respect of their brothers in arms. The Night Bomber Regiment was one of the 3 female fighter pilot units created by Stalin at the instances of Marina Raskova, an aviation celebrity who was essentially the Soviet Amelia Earhart. Raskova trained her recruits as pilots and navigators, and also as members of maintenance and ground crews. She also prepared them for an environment that preferred to treat women as bombshells rather than bombers. One General May initially complained about being sent a bunch of girdles instead of soldiers, but the women and their flimsy little crop duster and their ill-fitting uniforms and their 23,000 tons of ammunition soon proved him wrong, and they did all that while decorating their planes with flowers and using their navigation pencils as lip color. Okay, so till paragraph 11 I have explained you. Now the next explanation will be done in the next part of the video. Till then children, you read these tough words and understand the meaning. Thank you.